What's going on, guys? This is Alex, and today I'm going to talk a bit about transaction coordinating in the real estate market. So first things first, what's a transaction coordinator? A transaction coordinator is the assistant to the real estate agent in the real estate transaction. The transaction coordinator is there to support the realtor and the client to ensure a smooth transaction all the way until the close of escrow. Now that's the realtor side. Now, a transaction coordinator, and a lot of people don't know that, can be used as a for sale by owner assistant as well. So if you are a for sale by owner that's watching this video seeking help, then you can hire a transaction coordinator to basically perform all of the work that a realtor would normally perform, and for a whole lot less. If you're watching this video and you live in California, then I'm gonna leave a link to a transaction coordinating service for a very affordable fee. It's $5.99. It's paid only at the close of escrow. Honestly, it's worth it for the realtor and for the homeowner. Neither of you has to do any work except perhaps negotiating, talking over the phone about some terms and conditions, things that the transaction coordinator can't really touch because technically he's the third party to the transaction. I'm going to dive into explaining the process itself. That's for those of you who want to be a transaction coordinator, or maybe you're a real estate agent. You decided that you want to try it out. You want to do your own transaction. Or just learn a little bit more about the process. So diving into the process, let's say a listing agent hired you to be the TC, okay? The first thing you need to ask the agent to give you is a copy of the offer so that you can see who the selling agent is, the name of the seller, the name of the buyer, the name of the brokerage. You need to get the information on the escrow company, unless you're the one opening escrow, which is something you can do. You just need to have people's phone numbers, names, email addresses, because you're gonna be the main point of contact between everyone in the transaction. The next step for you is to prepare the state-required seller disclosures. If you're a realtor, you should have access to zip forms. Once you're using zip forms, you can locate all of the state-required disclosures. Typically, your broker should have a list of what they require for the agents to provide when they close a deal. You get that list, look at it, pull up zip forms, and get all of those disclosures in order, and then send it to the seller. Typically, you want to advise the seller that you're going to send them disclosures. You want to tell the seller what's going on, what's the next step, so they know what to expect, because otherwise they're going to call the agent and ask him questions, and the agent hired you to take care of everything. If you get stuck for any reason, you are welcome to contact me, and I'm gonna leave that information under the video, and I'll be happy to answer questions just to help you guys get going through the transaction that you're gonna be working with, okay? Once the seller signs all of the disclosures and that's out of the way, you're gonna have to send it to the buyer's agent. Now, typically on the California real estate purchase agreement, the seller has 7 days to furnish the buyer with the disclosures. You need to really know the purchase agreement that you're working with. So you have to obviously read the contract, understand the timelines, because a lot of selling agents change the timeline. They can change it from 7 days to 5 days as far as disclosures, or they can change the loan contingency from 21 to a different number. Same goes for the appraisal contingency and the home inspection and investigation contingency. Pay attention, write these numbers down, write the dates. You're gonna have to watch that timeline like a hawk, making sure that you're not going to miss any of those dates, because that might jeopardize the deal and it's gonna hurt your reputation as a transaction coordinator or a real estate agent. Alrighty? So you're sending the disclosures back to the buyer. You're watching the contingency period. Typically, at this point, your buyer should be ordering the home inspection to inspect the property. If your buyer's taking a loan on the house, typically an appraisal is being ordered for the appraiser to come out and appraise the house, and that's done within the first 17 days. Okay, so the buyer has 17 days, typically, depending on the contract, to investigate the house and to get an appraiser to come out and appraise the house. Your job is to ask, when would they want to have the home inspection happen? Because you're gonna have to communicate that with the seller and let them know when is a good day to do it. Once the home inspection's done, typically it takes a day or 2 or 3 to get the home inspection report back. The buyer is the person that's gonna be getting that report. Your job as a TC is to get that report as quickly as possible so that you can review it and you can prepare, and your seller can prepare with the agent to know what's gonna be coming out of the buyer's end. The buyer is gonna be creating a request for repairs form, and he's gonna pick the items that he wants the seller to repair. And when you do get that list, you're gonna have to communicate that to the seller, and you wanna let the agent know, hey, this came in, please take a look at it with the seller. That's something that typically a transaction coordinator does not get involved with, because that's not your job to advise the seller on what items he should agree to or disagree to. That's between the agent and the seller, okay? So they might ask you to furnish a response for requests for repairs. You're gonna create that from zip forms, and you're gonna follow your agents and sellers instructions. Make sure that they're both on the same page on what you're writing on the form. And you have to do that on every form that you create. Make sure that the homeowner and the agent are both on the same page, because otherwise you're taking the hit because you haven't checked, you did not verify. Always trust, but verify. That's what I say. So trust and verify with the agent and the client. So at this point, you're gonna send the RRRR form, response for request for repairs, back to the buyer's agent. This happens within the 17-day inspection period. At that point, they need to either agree or disagree to the form, and they're gonna do it on their own. Let's say they agreed. They agreed, they signed the form, and it gets sent right back to you. You let the seller and the agent know, and we're moving forward from that point. The appraisal at that time should be done also. If the appraisal came in positive, good, you're moving forward with the deal. And if it didn't, then your agent's gonna have to resolve it from that point. At this point, we're getting really close to the 21-day contingency period, which is the loan contingency period. The seller can ask the buyer to remove their inspection and appraisal 17-day contingency. The buyer's agent is going to furnish you with a form removing those contingencies. And if you've gotten that far, it shows that the deal's going pretty well. Now, everything's contingent on the loan. The listing agent's job at this point is to make sure that the buyer is going to remove all of the contingencies. After 21 days, the buyer needs to remove their contingency. That means that the buyer can no longer back out of the deal without losing their deposit. Once they remove those contingencies, it should be a smooth sale all the way to the close of escrow. From the 21st day to the close, you just have to watch the transaction like a hawk, contact escrow on a daily basis if you have to, and ask, how's the deal going? How's the deal going? Where are we now? When is it going to fund? You just have to show that you're there so that no one falls asleep at the wheel, because that happens a lot. We have escrow companies, title companies, loan officers that fall asleep at the wheel, and we have agents that do that too. But your job as a transaction coordinator is to make sure that that doesn't happen. You're the only person that should be awake 24/7, and that's how you're gonna be able to close your first transaction coordinating deal. I know this was a lot, but I definitely hope this helps some of you. So if you do have questions, you're welcome to leave it at the comments below. Please subscribe if you feel like this helped you. I'm going to come out with more real estate videos. Okay, thanks so much, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.